Paying for your graduate education. This presentation will cover important topics in regards to financial aid and the financial aid process at the graduate level here at the University of Hartford. Please know that financial aid representatives are available to speak with you regarding your specific financial aid circumstances. We are available to talk with you via virtual meeting, in person. You may call our office or send us an email, and we're happy to talk. In order to be approved for financial aid at the graduate level, you must first be admitted into your degree program of choice. Graduate students must be registered for a minimum of 6 credits per semester. At the University of Hartford, the academic year begins in the summer, or May of each year, and will cover summer, fall, and spring semesters. Students must also meet minimum federal aid eligibility requirements, which I'll talk about on the next slide. To be reviewed for financial aid, you must complete the free application for federal student aid, or also commonly known as the FAFSA form. This is completed online at studentaid.gov, the secure governmental website. You may already have a federal student aid ID and some login information if you've recently completed your undergraduate coursework. But if you don't, you will need to create that as a starting point. The FAFSA will request information regarding your demographics and financial information. Once submitted, a check will be completed to ensure that you meet minimum federal aid eligibility criteria. Some important notes in regards to those basic federal aid requirements is that you must be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, and you must be in good standing on previously borrowed federal student loans. Therefore, if you did borrow at the undergraduate level, you must be in good standing on those loans, meaning not in default, in order to continue borrowing at the graduate level. Our office should receive a copy of your FAFSA, usually within 3 to 5 business days after submission. This will allow us to review your FAFSA form and make an aid offer, which I'll talk about in just a few minutes. That is all that we require in order to apply and be reviewed for federal financial aid, except for the summer term. We do require students to alert our office if they wish to borrow for the summer. And to do that, you would complete our summer aid application. It's just a one-page document that acknowledges that you would like to borrow for the summer term. Our office can provide you a copy of that if you email us, but it should be available in April of each academic year. Once we receive the FAFSA, we will review and award you a direct, unsubsidized loan. This is an interest-bearing loan offered to you from the U.S. Department of Education. Therefore, it is a federal loan program for which you are the borrower and will have the obligation for repayment on after you complete your program. You are eligible to receive up to $50,000 per academic year, not to exceed $200,000 for the life of your program, meaning the entire time that you are registered for your program, you cannot borrow more than $200,000. Remember, an academic year covers summer, fall, and spring. I strongly encourage you to sit down with one of our financial aid counselors to discuss how to maximize the use of this $50,000 so it covers as much of your academic year as possible, and to find ways to minimize borrowing wherever possible. You will be sent an offer letter for the amount of the loan that you are eligible for. Then you must accept that offer and complete a loan agreement or a master promissory note and an entrance counseling. Both of those are completed online at studentaid.gov. The master promissory note and the entrance counseling are 2 items needed in order to apply these funds to your account, and they will both let you know what your obligation is for repayment on these loans and what it means to be a student loan borrower. In some cases, the $50,000 that you are eligible for may not fully cover your costs for the academic year, and therefore you have a few options. Number 1, you may choose to borrow on a private loan. These are loans not through the U.S. Department of Education, and they are not federal loans. Some names you might recognize would be Sallie Mae student loans, Citizens Bank student loans, SoFi student loans. These loans do require a credit history check in order to confirm your eligibility. They consider your ability to repay the loans, whether you have stable income, and your actual FICO score. I'll go into more detail about that in just a few minutes. We do maintain a list of suggested private lenders on our website that you may wish to view and use as a starting point in terms of pursuing a private loan option. We do offer payment plans and payment arrangements where you can cover your costs in manageable monthly payments. Some of our programs have graduate assistantships where students will work on campus and use some of their reimbursement from that to help cover their expenses. Or you may work for an employer that offers some type of tuition reimbursement as well, and we're more than happy to walk you through how to pursue that process. I would like to talk a bit more about private loans now. We ask first that you exhaust all of your federal aid or your federal direct unsubsidized loan first before pursuing a private loan option. We can't tell you which lender to choose, but I can provide you some details on some things to think about. For example, some of the lenders might offer a fixed interest rate or a variable interest rate. Fixed means that during the life of that loan, the interest rate will not fluctuate. It will remain exactly the same. Variable will fluctuate. It may go up or it may go down throughout the life of the loan. You also want to compare the interest rate ranges for each of these loans. Some of them might vary, and so you will not know your actual interest rate until you go through the full credit history check on these loan options. But you want to look at what ranges might be available for that particular loan. Some of the private loans will have repayment of 10 years, some of 15 years, some you may be able to extend out to 20 years. So that is going to vary as well, and something that you want to consider. There are credit requirements for these loans, meaning you do need to go through a full credit history check in order to determine whether or not you will be eligible for this loan. At this point in time, you may wish to check your annual credit report to ensure you don't have anything glaring on there that might prevent you from borrowing. Things like accounts and collections more than 60 days past due, or unpaid previously borrowed loans, that sort of thing. You can start looking at that now. These private lenders are going to be looking at your ability, your stability, and your willingness. When we talk about ability, we mean your measured debt levels and your income. When we talk about stability, we're talking about a measure of your credit history and how stable that credit history has been. And then willingness. So your demonstrated payment history on other debts. So if you've borrowed other student loans or maybe have a car payment or have credit cards, do you have on time and consecutive payments on that history? In terms of costs, your costs will vary from semester to semester and from program to program. It is heavily dependent upon your enrollment status and how many credits you are taking within that semester. It's also going to vary by where you are in your coursework, whether you're working on taking a full course load of academic credits or you're in the dissertation portion of your program. Those costs will vary. You will receive a bill once you are registered for your first semester, and we are exclusively operating on electronic billing. So it will be emailed to you, and then you will log into your portal called your Student Self-Service Portal to view that bill. Many students ask about using financial aid options to cover living expenses while they are enrolled in a full-time program. You may be able to do that. Every student is billed what is called a total cost of attendance, which includes your billed costs like tuition and fees. That is what we are charging you to attend the university. But it also includes estimates of what we call not billed costs. And those are things like housing and meals and personal expenses. They are our estimates of additional costs that might be incurred while you are attending this program full time. Every student can borrow up to their full cost of attendance for each academic year, which means your total borrowing may exceed your billed costs, so what we are charging you to attend. At that point in time, a credit or a refund may be available to you to help cover those not billed costs. So to help cover things like the cost of housing or meals if you're living on or off campus. Please note that this total cost of attendance is not intended to cover all of your costs. These are averages and estimates that we have created based on the students that are attending that program and what we know about their current expenses. We do welcome you to have a conversation with our team to go over this to understand it in greater detail. Just so that you have some expectations in terms of an awarding timeline, just know that for each academic year, for the summer term, we usually release financial aid award letters for that particular term in mid to late May. And we do notify you to log into your student self-service portal that I talked about earlier in order to accept your aid offer. For the fall and the spring semesters, usually between mid to late summer, so usually in July or so, is when we will release the financial aid award for that fall and spring semester. Just a few helpful tips to be thinking about. First and foremost, we want to help you minimize your borrowing. So we only want you to be borrowing what you need to cover your expenses. And again, if you have extra living expenses, we will help you figure out how to minimize that borrowing so that you are not over borrowing for this program. A common question we get is whether federal student loans borrowed from previous degrees will automatically go into deferment, and the answer to that is yes. Once you are fully enrolled at the university, we will report you to the National Student Loan Data System as being enrolled, at which point any previously borrowed federal loans will automatically go into deferment because you are back in school, at least part-time. If you have borrowed on any private loans in the past, and have any private lenders that need notification that you are going to be enrolled at an institution, we're more than happy to fill out any form. So certainly contact our office and we're happy to help you with that. And then just a reminder, if you do wish to borrow aid for the summer term, contact us. We will give you a copy of that summer aid application form I talked about earlier, and then you can complete that in order to request financial aid for the summer term. We understand that the financial aid process can be a bit confusing, and we are here to help. So please do not hesitate to contact our office. You can contact us via email or via phone, and we're more than happy to schedule a virtual or in-person meeting with you. Wish you all the best as you continue through this process, and please do not hesitate to reach out with any other questions. Thank you.